And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome into the Bears Coaches Show with Bears head coach Matt Eberflus. Jeff Joniak with you until 8 o'clock tonight here on News Radio 105.9 WBBM. We'll recap the 20-12 loss to the New York Giants. Thanks for joining us, everyone. And good evening, Matt. How you feeling?
Good evening. How are you feeling?
I'm doing fine. What'd you learn?
Well, I had a team meeting this morning with the players and, really just talked about consistency of execution. I think we're doing a lot of good things out there on the field, but we need to do it more consistently. And that was the main thing. We're working to improve on just the basics, your alignment, your assignment, and your technique. And that's what came out of the film for us. And really, I thought we did a nice job yesterday, in special teams for sure. Obviously flipping the field and 2 kickoffs inside the 20. We had that punt that was inside the 4, and they operated well all day. Obviously had the caused fumble on the punt that set us up for a field goal. And obviously, we're all disappointed in the last play, of course. You can't take that back. But overall, we thought the special teams played well.
Execution of the offense. How did you feel about it?
We did a nice job of getting the ball down the field. Mooney got started, which was awesome. And he threw that great bomb down the sideline. And I thought that was a great adjustment by Mooney to be able to lean into the guy and then come back to the football and create some space for himself.
All right, we're going to get into Justin later on in the program. I'm going to commit a whole segment to it because that's what everybody wants to talk about. But overall, though, that one play alone should mean significance to both players. I don't care what defense you're playing.
Yeah, I think the chemistry for those guys is just starting to grow, and it's been there in practice. Now we're starting to see it in the game. So I really think that's true.
All right, let's go to the defensive side of the ball. Gap responsibility, contain. These are words that popped up yesterday after watching. I'm sure you'll cover that here today. But the sleight of hand by Daniel Jones, he's exceptional at it. Number one, doesn't make any excuses, obviously, but it is a difficult thing to deal with Saquon Barkley. Just that two-man game of what they did and how you guys defended it. Where are the preach points, I guess, for you?
Yeah, we need to improve on playing the boot keepers and know who's taking the second contain and who has that on every single play. The 3 times they ran the play, we were in 3 different coverages, so it's different on each one. But we do have a guy that's assigned to him, and we have to do a better job with executing there.
And with that, is that something that you can't necessarily fix while it's going on at the time, or do you need to get back in the locker room? Because it did change in the second half.
Yeah, I think we needed to fix it faster.
Yeah.
We can't. You can have a play happen to you once, but you shouldn't have it happen to you 2 times. And we need to do a better job there of adjusting. And certainly we made the adjustment at halftime, and we didn't see it there. We ended up getting a sack on the second time they ran it. And, in the second half, but got to do it better.
The rub is, I think people have asked me already, well, they want these guys flying off the line of scrimmage. The get-off's got to be critical, but you want that, but you also have to play responsibilities, and everybody's got to do their assignment, right? This goes back to what you continuously say, alignment, assignment, and execution. Yeah, so, yeah. So, but, that is, you do want these guys flying off the ball.
No, you do.
Though.
Yeah, we're a penetrating defense. We penetrate up front, and our linebackers are downhill, and that's how we play. That's our style. But there's certain, you got to read your keys. Your eyes have to be disciplined. So when you get that boot key down, you have to shuffle down as a defensive end and be able to get up in their face. And it's the same thing with the linebackers. You got to be able to read the flow of the lineman to be able to see that it's boot, okay, and then come out of that to be able to recontain. So we just have to improve on our eye discipline.
Let's talk about the second half, because now 4 straight games, no touchdown. That's not something insignificant here. So, again, if it's a bend, no break, if it's opportunistic activity, the proper tackle at the right time, a turnover, these things should continue to build confidence for that unit, especially late in games, second half.
No, it's good. The guys did a nice job again yesterday, and we commend them for that. And it's more about us, being consistent, throughout the game. And we're working on that, and the guys will get that this week.
All right, let's talk injuries. You mentioned in your news conference, Cody Whiter going to miss some time. I've known him since the day he walked in here for 7 years. The guy doesn't even like missing a single practice rep, let alone a game. So however long he's out, that's going to be tough for a guy like that.
No, Cody is a great man, and he's the first guy that contacted me as a player when I got the job here. And I always remember that and had a chance to talk to him. He was the first Bear that I talked to in terms of the players, but he's a great first impression. He had 99 starts with only 2 missed games, and he is the epitome of what Chicago Bear toughness is. And we're certainly going to miss him here for a few weeks. And again, we'll we'll make adjustments as we go, through the course of the week and find our best 5, inside there and go from there.
Yeah, but the good news is, I'm listening to what you're saying here, it doesn't appear to be a season-ending injury.
No, it does not appear to be that way right now.
That's good news right there. Yep. Talk about the offensive line in general, how it fared yesterday.
Yeah, they were good in points. I thought we, gave up too much inside pressure at times. We just got to work on our fundamental and technique in there. They had some one-on-ones inside there. We have to win those matchups. Overall, they did a solid job of keeping the pocket at times. But again, it's about consistency of execution. When we get that, when we have time to throw the ball, we can ride the pocket, we can deliver it. You saw what we did yesterday. We had some good explosive passes, which is nice. Overall, in terms of the run game, obviously been running the ball at a really good clip. We ran it good yesterday. But again, it's not up to our standards. We want to run the ball a little bit better than that. And our guys got to come off the ball. The runners got to finish the runs violently. And we saw some of that yesterday, but it has to be more consistent.
You got a 340-pounder in there. Those big guys are hard to move, though, aren't they?
Yeah. You have to move them with, sometimes there's singles, sometimes there's doubles, and we had some good production yesterday too.
All right, so let's break down that whole scenario at the end of the game because you mentioned it already. Trenton Gill with an absolutely superb punt. Mm-hmm. You get the long field, you get the punt. And what's going through your mind at this point? Forget about the muff for the moment, but you're thinking to yourself, okay, this is setting up ideally here. Was that what was going through your head?
Yeah, we had to make the decision there. It was 3rd and 2.5. We ended up running it in there and didn't get any yards, so we decided to punt it. And we punted it, and we rolled down to the 4 at 3:04. So we had all 3 of our timeouts available to us there. We banged one on the first one, banged one on the second down. And then, waste minimal time. And then the third down we let go because we were going to have the 2-minute warning. And then we were thinking, hey, we're going to get the ball midfield with a 1 timeout with 2:01 was the number we had right there with first down. So we felt good about our chances there to score and have a 2-point conversion to tie it. And then I think we'd have done a pretty good job from there.
Patrick Scales on the ball. We'll send it back to Trenton Gill. Spot is good. Kick is up by Badgley, and he's 2 for 2. He nails it from 22. 6-play, 77-yard drive.
Great seats available to see your Chicago Bears this season at Soldier Field. Get your tickets at chicagobears.com/tickets. Welcome back to the Bears Coaches Show. Just heard one of 4 Michael Badgley field goals. We talked about it a lot. The guy came up in there through New Jersey. That's where he grew up and just nailed everything. He's only missed 1 inside of 40 in his career, so he's pretty automatic.
No, he's been good throughout his career. We had him in Indianapolis a couple years back, and he did a real nice job for us when he was filling in there. And what a pro! What a great young man he is. First of all, and he came through for us. 4 for 4, and did a heck of a job. I got to really say to Ryan Poles and his staff there. With Cairo, having his personal situation. He ended up calling in some kickers. We worked him out. We were able to sign him, Badgley. So that was so good by those guys and really thinking by Ryan and his staff.
It's an underrated thing around the league, that emergency list, and you got to have connections and get things moving in the right direction for something like that. We'll touch on Cairo in a second, but and then just to trust your eyes in that moment during a workout and going with your gut, right? Because there's no time for introductions and get him in, get him on the plane. There's been some great careers spawned from that. Robbie Gould here, who's, got on a plane to play Cleveland, and he's still kicking. How is Cairo? I think everything's okay.
Everything's good. Cairo's back in the building. Everything looks up and up. And, again, I'll let him discuss his personal matter with everybody once he gets to the media here this week. But, everything looks great.
And for emergency purposes, I wrote this down on my notes this morning, would it be advantageous to have a second kicker on the practice squad? Is that, if you really value somebody, it's more spots now in the practice squad. I know they like to develop players and so forth, but situations like these, whatever might happen during a practice, somebody gets hurt, whatever, is that something that would be a good idea? I
think it could be. I haven't discussed that yet with Ryan, but, I think it could be advantageous for sure.
All right, let's talk about Cole Kmet, the tight end screen. Loved it. Loved those screen plays. Obviously, they can take the starch out of a pass rush pretty good, but a couple of those really can get a quarterback going too.
Yeah, no doubt. They're really good. Those wide delay screens, they're tough to defend. Once, because we got some athletic linemen that can get out there on the blocks, to lead that way. And the O lineman did a good job. Cody did a nice job on that play. Tevin did a nice job on that play, and Sam also. So you have to have the blockers in front of you, and then the tight ends really got to do a good job of selling it. You got to really sell that protection piece to it before you flip, and catch that pass. So he's been doing a nice job of that.
Trevin Wesco got a fair amount of snaps in this one. We don't know that much about him here, but he's been in the league for a while. Had himself a catch in this game as well. What can tell us more about what he's all about?
Yeah, he's done a good job. He's came in late, from, obviously after training camp. And, he's been great, doing a great job of picking up the offense, and we really are pleased to have him because he's our Y blocker, So Ryan's been out. He's been on the ball blocking that Y spot. And on that particular play, did a nice job of getting his depth and really made a nice catch.
And Jake Tongas with one snap. Ryan, maybe on the mend here, Ryan Griffin?
Yeah, we hope so. He's day-to-day. We'll see where he is, like a lot of guys. Demo's that same way. He's a day-to-day guy. We'll see where he is, and we'll go from there.
All right, let's switch back to the running game for a moment. Another good number in yards, like you mentioned in the first segment, but hard to earn against the Giants. But 709 yards after 4 games, that's the most by the Bears since 1988. So, again, for some reason, the league is putting up a lot of numbers around the league with rushing yards. We theorized on the team playing Tom Thayer, and there's a lot of different reasons, but going back to the old bloody your nose type of running game is not a bad idea, when you need it, right?
Yeah, you have to rely on a good running game to open up the passing game. So I think that's something we're building, and the offensive line, Chris Morgan and Luke Getsy have done a great job of calling up these runs and coaching them up. It's not as easy as it looks. You have to block force the right way. We got to change it when the defense presents different looks, and you have to have those things built in, and they do a wonderful job. And I think Getsy referred to it last week, the cans from one side to the other, from one run play to the next, or, a pass play to a run play. And our quarterback's done a great job doing that, and that's not an easy job, and he's really done a nice job.
A note on Justin on his scrambles, and he's joked about it in the past too, even last season, his slides. Would you like them to begin sooner to avoid or sometimes it gets a little awkward and the risk of injury is certainly something you gotta handle.
I think he does a good job of that. I think he does. Those defenders have to fly. He slides. Because he's a quick guy.
Yeah.
So he does it pretty quick, and those defenders just have to fly over top of him and can't hit him.
So the Giants lurking all around. Their safety is back deep. Corner's way off the ball. It's 3rd and 20. Fields going to flick it. Pass is caught. Herbert, 45, 40, 35, 30, and a first down for the Bears. Moves the scrum pile down near the 27 of the New York Giants. Well timed, perfectly blocked up. Fields to Herbert for 24 yards on the screen on 3rd down and a long way to go.
Hey, kick off tailgating season with a league-leading lineup at your local Jewel Osco. Get everything from chips and dips to wings and other things in one quick trip. Bears head coach Matt Eberflus. And we just heard the 24-yard screen on 3rd and 20. Tom has a joke in the broadcast when it gets to a certain number. We don't have plays for that, men. But you did on 3rd and 20.
No, that was a good good play call there, and obviously really good execution. That was a really a good way to flip the field, and we did a nice job there. And those things are always good to have. And I thought we had the right play call, but also the right person. Herbert's a strong runner.
North and south.
He gets vertical right now. He gets north right now, and he's got his pads down. And again, like I explained earlier on the Cole Kmet screen, it takes everybody. So you got receivers blocking down the field. St. Brown was blocking down there. Pettis was blocking down there.
Amir was blocking.
Amir, yep.
And Tevin Jenkins had not one but two different blocks.
2 big blocks on that one. So the guys got to get out in front of it and did a nice job. So that was a great team effort.
So aside from and whatever the scheme is, whatever the decisions are by Luke Getsy and when you guys put together the game plans, can the screen become something that, hey, it's coming, you can't stop it type of thing that becomes a real weapon if it's run just so perfectly?
Yeah, I think you have to have a number of screens because you have to change the looks and change who's getting the screens and then change the formations and the motions in front of them. So I think you can't be predictable. I think it's got to be a different look every time, which I think we've done a good job of that.
How do defenses feel about defending screens?
A lot of times
that deception angle that gets them going.
3rd and 20, a lot of times what people do is they back up. You get that front line at 10 yards on a 3rd and 20, so you got space to block guys. The one thing you got to have is athletic linemen to be able to block in space, and we have that.
With Herbert, 19 of 77 now, 6.1 yards a carry on his 52 carries this year. and I love going into the history. So, it's Walter Payton and Gale Sayers. The only other backs with better than 6 yards a carry with at least 50 attempts to start a season. Payton did it in 1977, and Sayers did it in 1968. So that's some pretty rare company. I know that's
it's
not a me sport.
Yeah, that's
it's
pretty
a
high
team
regard
sport.
right there for sure. But
right. Emphasizing the production, though, it's good stuff.
No, it is. It is. And you have to build on things, that are positive, and that's certainly a positive for us. And he's got a good downhill style, and he's got a good bounce out and a good cutback, and he's got his pads low, and he reads those plays really nice. And he's got to continue to do that, really press that line of scrimmage and read those things at the last moment.
Also, with the reading with Justin. Facing a lot of 8-man fronts right now, obviously with him and the backs that are doing so well. And the Giants play man, they turn their back. Does that give him an immediate invitation to take that ball and go?
Well, yeah. I mean, it more importantly, it opens up the passing game. When you get 8-man box, and a lot of times they were going zero yesterday. So we got a chance to take advantage of those things with those downfield throws, and we got to continue to do that.
And for the fans who are not X's and O's crazy like we are, zero means.
Zero means when they have nobody in the middle of the field. So cover one would be they got one guy back, and cover zero they have nobody back. So they got more guys on the line of scrimmage, and they're max pressuring.
And the zero blitzes, they just bring the house. A lot of run blitzes yesterday, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of them. How do you think they responded to those run blitzes?
Good. Yeah, I thought we did a good job of pushing the pile and getting positive yards on most of them.
A lot of stuff to build on offensively, and I know everybody wants it right now. Mm-hmm. And so there's a throw up your hands type of feeling at times. What can you tell folks about how hard it is to develop an offense, especially a new one with a lot of young players and a young quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, it starts from the beginning, when you put in formations, motions, shifts, run blocking, how we have a variance of runs. We're not just an outside stretch team. We run other schemes. We got what we call gap schemes where people actually pull, sometimes guard and tackle pull, sometimes it's the guard, and then how we block force. That's so important. You can see it visibly on tape how we use our receivers to block force. And there's a varying ways to do that based on the coverage shell, based on the front. Sometimes those guys are inserting inside the tight end to block inside there. So it's an important part. So it's all 11 of us doing the same thing at the same time, and that's just the run game. Now when I talk about the passing game, the protections, the route depths, the timing and the rhythm of the passing game. So it's coming together, and we saw improvement. We saw improvement yesterday on that, on the rhythm and timing and getting the ball down the field to a couple of our players, and certainly Mooney.
Heck, just the language alone and understanding what the responsibilities are for all the other 10 players for Justin Fields to know where they're going to be on any given play at any given adjustment and all that. So
right.
A lot to delve into.
He's done a great job with all the verbiage and calling it since day one. He's done a great job with it.
All right, we'll get in more into Justin Fields after another break.
Snap and a play fake. Fields with time. Looking. Arching deep. Downfield. Going for Mooney. Over the shoulder. Got it inside the 30-yard line. Wow, what a catch. They aired it out. Fly down the sideline left. And that's a bomb of 56 yards, and the Bears in business.
Welcome back to the Bears Coaches Show with Bears head coach Matt Eberflus. Bears will be getting ready for the Minnesota Vikings later in the program. We'll take a look at what Minnesota is doing, especially after their long visit to London. All right, let's talk Justin Fields. This is interesting. I saw this. One of the writers put it out there on Twitter. Justin Fields through week 4 this year, 57 completion percentage, 70.3 quarterback rating, if you're into these numbers or whatever, in year 2. Josh Allen, through week 4 of his second year, 55% completion percentage, 68.4. Same. Perspective is important here. Mm-hmm. Would you say?
Yeah, it is. It is. We're building upon something, and it's one step at a time, So, we thought we took a step forward, in that direction yesterday with the rhythm, the timing, getting the ball down the field. So I think that's an important piece to it. And you have to have perspective. You really do. You got to make sure you're looking at the big picture, taking one step at a time, and just moving and progressing as we go.
And that throw we just heard from Justin Fields to Darnell Mooney, I would call that a confidence throw. Would you?
I would too.
Yeah.
And I've said it all along, this guy can throw a deep ball, and he put that one right on the money. And like I said earlier in the segment, Mooney did a nice job adjusting back into the defender and then sliding back outside to catch that ball, and great concentration by him.
And because of that, everybody knows that he can throw a great deep ball. He did it at Ohio State. He's thrown it many times already in his short career, but there's a higher expectation of these kinds of throws too. There's a perception maybe that you guys are staying on the conservative side of this, but it's all within the formulation of what you want to attack at any given
that's right.
moment. Can you tell us more about?
No, that's right. You have to. It's an old saying, but it's true. You have to take what the defense gives you. And if they're all up in there tight, defending the run, we're going to have to take some shots down the field, and we certainly did that. Yesterday. If they're playing soft, which we've played a couple of teams that have done that, then we need to take the underneath throws and be able to run the ball, which we've done. When they give you that, so. It's about winning the game, and it's also about developing our offense as we go. But part of developing our offense is putting a game plan together to win the game that we're playing, and it's going to change every week.
How would you say you educate a quarterback on the window of opportunity on a throw, like what's open and what's not?
Yeah, I would just say he's got to listen. We've said it all along, but it's true. You got to listen to your feet. The way your feet are is when the ball is supposed to be delivered. And then if that's not open, then you have to hitch up one and then deliver it then. And then from there, then the clock's over. Now you got to take off and go. So he just got to listen to his feet.
What do you not want infiltrating his mind at this point?
I just want him to stay with the process. I know that's coach speak, but you really have to be in the moment. You have to stay with the process of him looking at the tape, getting better, improving, coming in, in the next couple of days, getting the game plan, getting the preview for it, and then working into Wednesday and having a great practice on Wednesday. And then that's all we can focus on right now.
Coaches are results driven from snap to snap. Do numbers or stats or things like that influence you in any way, shape, or form? Do you not focus on that?
I think it's part of all. I take in all information, so I look at all information in terms of stats and from everywhere. And I think you can glean information from that, and I think it's important that you do that because now you can give that to the player in a positive. You can give it to him in how he's going to improve. And you use all information.
Analytics. So when you first started coaching, that term probably didn't exist, right?
No, it didn't.
How do you feel about it?
No, I think it's good. Like I said,
you have to embrace it.
You have to, because it's there. It's there and it's good. It's really good. You can have so much information given to you. And you got to have somebody that's there to break it down. Because there's so much there. They have to put it on a one pager for you. And then I think really do a good job of working through that with that. How you're going to operate in the game. When are you going to go for fourth downs? When do you use your timeouts? When how is the guy operating, in terms of downfield throws or how the runners are running yards after contact? Are we really getting what we say? We're really knocking the pile forward, or we're really knocking it back? So you can use those things in GPS. You can use it for the player's health. We do a lot of that during the course of the week. We measure distances, effort, speeds, because we try to get each player up to his max speed, 90% of his max speed 3 times a week, because that's supposed to help with injury. So we get that done, and we're making sure the players know that. So that's just one example how we use it.
Play action to the pocket. Flag flies. He's going deep down the field. Eddie Jackson, a beautiful over-the-shoulder interception inside the 10-yard line. The Bears on the deep bomb by Tyrod Taylor, making the play here in the fourth quarter in New York.
Welcome back to the Bears Coaches Show with Bears head coach Matt Eberflus, calling all Bears fans. Get the ultimate VIP fan package with Chicago Bears VIP. Secure a game ticket and appearance from Bears legends and more by visiting ChicagoBearsVIP.com. Jeff Joniak with you till 8 o'clock here tonight. Just heard the Eddie Jackson interception. Tremendous interception. Tell me how hard that was to intercept that pass.
Yeah, that's, the longer and farther the ball goes, you got to track it longer. And certainly with the wind in there yesterday, it was significant. And that was what's made it even more special. So what a great job by him covering all that space and tracking that ball all the way down there and catching it over his shoulder, looking at it all the way in. It's too bad that we couldn't, get that guy to peel off of him so we can get a nice return on that, because we got the ball down there in a short field, but backed up. But what a great job.
Scouts always taught, can a guy track it, not only as a receiver but as a defender? What are some of the key fundamentals of tracking deep passes?
Yeah, I would just say it's concentration. It really is. And you got to really know when to time your jump if you're going up with a receiver. That's a big thing when the time you jump, and you got to practice it. You got to throw the ball down the field for these guys. And, we do a couple other things where we use these bags that have these arms on them, and we throw the ball there and it gets tipped, that really works on your concentration too, to be able to track a ball once it's tipped. Because a lot of times, most of the time with a defensive back, you have to catch it outside the frame. So when you're a receiver, the quarterback's putting it on your frame. Well, when you're a DB, a lot of times you catch it out of the frame. So we always want to throw the ball outside the frame of the body to make sure he has to reach for it and track it outside of the frame.
Blitzed him a fair amount yesterday as well. He had some from the post into the box, and that's something he's done in the past as well. How did that go, in your opinion?
It was good. We thought he was in there good and ended up making some tackles at the line of scrimmage, a couple, maybe one behind the line of scrimmage, I think, or was in on one of those. But one of them, he made a mistake. He went in the A gap, so he's supposed to go in the B gap. That was one that ripped off, in the second half, and he knows that. We got to do a better job of making sure we're in the right spot.
Overall, 9-tackle day and some one-on-ones with Saquon Barkley. I know Coach Alan Williams mentioned the thick-thighed player, and he is. Those are steel-belted right there.
No, that's good, and Eddie did a nice job. He really did. He played a solid game yesterday.
Let's talk about the other safety, Jaquan Brisker. He had himself a sack, knocked Jones out of the game for a bit. He wasn't the same quarterback after that. But that had to be some kind of head-spinning learning lesson, though, for rookies in this game defensively.
Yeah, it was. There's certainly a lot of learning moments for all the rookies. We're out there playing with, I think, 4 right now, defensive linemen, 2 DBs, three defensive backs. Yeah, so we're playing with those guys, and those guys are improving. They're getting better, but they also have learning moments, and they did yesterday. I thought Jaquan had some really good hits, though, yesterday. Obviously, the sack was a real nice play. I thought he had a nice pass breakup. That was a really solid hit on the sideline. They're late in the game, so he's getting better and improving.
As he continues to grow, do you think we suggested it, when he came out of Penn State and when he's got that physicality to him, will he be, in your opinion, a tone setter at safety because of the kind of hits he can bring to the table?
Yeah, that's what we want.
Just
we want to
grow into that.
Yeah, we want a physical style, and he certainly exudes that every time he steps onto the field and proves it every time. And we're excited about where he's going.
We talk about Kyler Gordon a lot because we have high expectations for him. And overall, what would you think of yesterday's performance?
It was good. It was good. Obviously, we don't like the DPI, down the sideline there, but that's again technique. He's got to, use good technique on that particular play. We got to help him with that. Coaches got to help him with that, and he's going to get better.
And in that situation, a lot of times when you're trailing a player, you're doing, you got tangled up with him a little bit. They're going to throw the flag on that, but that's seemingly something that happens quite a bit, right?
Yeah, that happens all the time, but it's always happens at the line of scrimmage. What you do at the line of scrimmage, the first 5 yards for a defensive back, is everything. And then obviously at the catch point, having poise through all the way through the down. So we'll get better at that, right, for sure.
We mentioned early in the confidence you have in the development of the special teams unit, and there's a lot of young players on that unit getting great opportunities. Josh Blackwell, let's find out what he's all about, who he is. He's out of Duke, undrafted rookie. That's a big hit right there. I thought for a moment Jalen Jones had recovered the fumble, and here he recovered his own fumble.
Yeah, we got 2 rookies out there as the gunners, and those guys are both fast. So to be a gunner, you have to be fast, and those guys are that. And he was physical, on that play. He did a nice job of putting himself in there, put his pads on the ball, and then it squirted over to Jalen Jones, and then ended up popping out of there. But he ended up second effort, the hustle principle, really nice by Blackwell to jump on the ball there and get a great field position for our football team.
And with a guy like that, what he's being taught, can some of that be translatable to the defense at some point down the road for these guys?
For sure. Yeah, we've been working him in at nickel. We've been working him on the outside. So he's been working, really hard to get on the field. So we'll continue to look at that.
Daniel Jones in at quarterback takes. Fakes, and this time the Bears are not fooled, waiting for him. Jaquan Brisker finally back to the 35-yard line, and Jones comes up limping.
Welcome back to the Bears Coaches Show. We just heard Jaquan Brisker's sack. We mentioned it a little bit in segment number 5. Break it down one more time, Jaquan.
Yeah, so that's a tight end pressure for us, so coming off the tight end side. And, it's really he has to do a good job of feeling the quarterback go away. So as he comes off the edge, he has to take 3 hard steps down the line of scrimmage, go through the mesh point, which is where they go with the halfback. And if he comes out with the ball, then he gets flat and comes up, and that's what he did. And he made a nice sack on that play. And did a real nice job of body control, at the very end of that, to be able to make that tackle. Sometimes you want to go ahead and just, hit the guy really hard, and sometimes you miss that tackle. So I thought he did a nice job of gathering himself to make the secure tackle at the very end of that play.
Please don't bite my head off on this one. So outside contain, I'm not talking about Brisker specifically, but anybody. Is it as simple as just hold your ground and don't get sucked in? And should there always be outside, especially now with the RPO thing going, and you're going to see more of it this year?
Yeah, I mean, you always want to be able to contain the quarterback in the pocket. We need to do a better job of that. Tyrod Taylor got out one time. We had inside charge by 94, and then we need to do a better job with containment there. But you always want to have the quarterback contained. Obviously, in run defense, you always want to have containment. And that's the player that's outside in on the football. And there's always one guy at least responsible for that, and we have to do a good job with that.
Overall, it's going to take many different ways to win games. There's no formula that's going to be absolutely operational. You have goals you want to set for each phase. I'm sure you've mentioned it a few times already. Hey, you want to hold. I think what was yesterday? You wanted to hold Saquon to how much a carry?
Yeah, under 3 in the threes. Like 9.
Yep. Yeah. So you said all those, but they won a game with minimal passing yards yesterday.
Right.
They're down receivers. They use their tight ends and fullback. They've been doing that quite a bit. Just a little bit goes a long way is my point.
Right.
And you could, as a team, feel the same way, right? From your perspective.
Yeah, I mean, there's, these, like I said yesterday, these games are, there's small margins in these games, and, you have to do things right, and they always come down to 6 or 7 plays, and those 6 and 7 plays, like 2 weeks ago, we made those plays at the end of the game to win the game. We got to continue to do that. They always come down to that many plays, and you got to make those impactful plays when they count.
I think 14 games cited by a score,
right?
An NFL record again this week.
Yep.
I mean, it's crazy. I don't know why it's all happening right now this season, all these first times.
Yeah, I think it's started with the playoffs, right? And then now it's working into the regular season, and I think it's set up that way. It's just to come down into the last 2 minutes of the game.
So it's not just early season teams trying to figure themselves out, getting adjusted, 10 new coaches. I mean, is that part of it, or is this how 2022 may roll?
I don't know. It looks like it's patterning that way. It looks like a pattern to me, so we'll see.
As a coach that has built his career on defense, is that up your alley then?
Hey, you got to play what it is. You got to play the ball where it lies and see where we go. But we're certainly, this first part of this season's been that way.
All right. I got to touch on this because the 5 of the first 7 drives, I believe, deep into Giants territory, 0 for 3 in the red zone. So you got deep on those. Even if 1 or 2 of those come home, there's a different story here. It changes the complexion of the game. You put more pressure on opposition. That's going to be critical here. Just simple execution here and there will make a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you turn one of those into a touchdown, or 2, and then it's a different ball game, So, it's important that we execute not only on third down, because that's what everybody points to. Hey, if we would have converted those third downs, but hey, on first and second down, you can score on those plays too. So, we have to be aggressive, which we are, and we're going to continue to do that.
All right, now time to look ahead. Brought to you by Bet Rivers, the official sportsbook partner of the Bears. Minnesota Vikings, what a game that was. I'm sure you popped on some of it, but 60-yard field goal attempts and 61-yarder bangs twice. It's a crazy, crazy game, this NFL right now, but a hard-earned win by the Minnesota Vikings, a division opponent, 3-1, and a lot of weapons that come to mind right out of the gate.
Yeah, I mean, they have a lot of weapons on offense, of course,
Yep.
And there's, certainly 2 backs that they're going to use are really good. Obviously, the 2 receivers they have are really good, so in the quarterback's a really good player too. And they got players all across the board. And it's going to be a big challenge for us, for our defense this week. And then on their defense, they have, obviously the 2 outside rushers are really good players, good solid players inside. Their middle linebackers, one of the best in football. So they got a lot of good players on their team. They got a good roster, and it's going to be a handful for our football team to go up there and take care of business.
It's interesting because you didn't name any of the players, but everybody knows who they are.
Oh, yeah.
And we're talking Kirk Cousins, Dalvin Cook, Alexander Madison,
Big Z.
and Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson. Tell us what this guy's all about. They're moving him all over the place. Matchup nightmare.
Yeah, he's obviously one of the best in the business, and he's proven that. And we certainly got our hands full with him, and we're going to have to do it's going to be all 11 of us to take care of him and that offense.
What separates him right now, do you think?
Well, I just think explosive athletic ability. He's so explosive, and he has the ability to go get the ball, and he's strong. He's a strong player too. Strong through the catch and strong through the whole route.
And defensively, you mentioned the middle linebacker and Kendricks, but I always go to Harrison Smith. I'm a big safety guy. I love how he plays the game. He's steady and always a dangerous guy and on a blitz. I don't know if they're still doing that. I haven't watched their tape yet.
Yeah,
but,
Harrison's played for a long time. I've watched a lot of tape on him, and he does it all. He plays in the deep part, plays in the quarter, plays in the half, plays in the middle, and he's a heck of a blitzer. And he does a great job with his disguises. So he's done it all through his career.
And Zadarius Smith is playing with some fire and some vigor. He feels, I think he's got a little chip on his shoulder for some reason.
Yeah, what an outside pass rusher, and really they utilize him all over the place. There'll be times where they put him over the ball, and he's rushing in A gaps and B gaps in the first and second down, and they do a lot of things with him, and they should. They should get matchups where they want with that player, and Big Z's done a nice job.
All right, well, good luck in your week of preparation for the Minnesota Vikings.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Matt Eberflus here on the Bears Coaches Show. We're out of time. I want to thank Keith Johnson, Andy Gersher, Dan Borelli, Jordan Tredup, and, of course, Bears head coach Matt Eberflus. I'm Jeff Joniak. Week 5 kicks off back at U.S. Bank Stadium. Pregame at 9, kickoff at noon against the Vikings. And if you're listening to WBBM on 780 right now, we'll join Monday Night Football between the Rams and the 49ers already in progress. If you want news radio, make sure you're on 105.9 FM or listening to our stream on the Odyssey app, where CBS and local news are next. This is News Radio 105.9 WBBM.